Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. Today is September 27, 2023. Today, the S&P 500 got a nice bounce off of this trend line here. This mother of all trend line. Looked like the entire market was watching this trend line here. Notice that as soon as it came down to this trend line, it got a nice bounce off of it. Also, it was confluent with this lower range of the expected move for the SPY. You see that it came down and bounced back up to this 426 level. And in the trade plan that I published last night on my Substack page, you can see that we're basically looking for 426.10. And if dip below that, we're looking for a target of 424.40 and then into this lower range of the expected move. And here we saw the SPY came down to this 423 area, this lower range of the expected move. And once it touches the trend line down here, it got a nice bounce off of here and shot back up to this 426 and pinned it at 426.50. So are we seeing more upside? Is this the end of this pullback, or this is just another one big trap? Now let's take a look at the internals on the intraday basis. As you can see, the market opened quite strongly with a positive advanced decline. Then it started to fade out, and then at the lunch hour or the afternoon, early afternoon, we actually see a lot of these stocks that were positive turn negative, and then until after 2 p.m., we saw it came back up and pretty much finished at a neutral spot here for the New York Stock Exchange, and likewise for the NASDAQ. Also notice that the up-down volume ratio was positive, and at the day positive, even though when we saw this fade here, during the late morning, we see that the up volume was a little bit more than the down volume, although in the early afternoon, we did see a little bit of a negative down here where it turned that the down volume overtake the up volume. But nevertheless, in the late afternoon into the close, it turned back positive. And also notice the cumulative tick here, kind of, up and down. We did see a lot of buy program as well as sell program. Anything that is minus 500 or lower, those are sell program, and anything positive 500 and higher, those are buy programs. So we saw quite a few of them, above that 500, and quite a few of them below 500, minus 500. We haven't seen some that is below minus 1,000 and also plus 1,000. So those are heavy sell program and buy program. Similarly for the NASDAQ, we also notice a similar type of pattern here. We got quite a few buy program and quite a few sell program. Now let's see how the indexes performed today. Notice the worst performer is the Dow Jones Industrial. It lost 0.2%. And the best performer is the Russell 2000. Almost gained a percent, with the NASDAQ 0.25%, and also pretty much neutral for the S&P 500, 0.02%, gain 0.98. And look at the daily sentiment chart here. You see that the VIX came down a little bit from yesterday, but still is sitting at that 18, 19 level there. But we still have not seen it come inside of this 20 and 30. So although the market participants are still a little bit more fearful right now, they are not in a panic state yet. But also notice that we did see the the put call ratio is getting close to this 1 level. So keep an eye on this. As soon as it crosses 1, then we could see a little bit more acceleration on the downside here. It closed today at 0.98. Now, like I said earlier, on the up-down volume ratio, we did see a 1.23 positive, and that's in favor of the up volume. And also the daily advance, there were 163 more advancing issue than declining issue. For a day, that is pretty much neutral, unchanged. But notice this hammer here. We got to turn around as soon as it touches that trend line. And here, looking at the 52-week high versus 52-week low, we are still seeing an expansion on the number of stocks making new 52-week low, so that is not a good sign. And for the cumulative AD line, we see a little uptick along with the S&P 500. And here looking at the NASDAQ 100 also got a little bit of a hammer doji on the turnaround with a 1.45 positive up-down volume ratio, so 1.45 to 1 in favor of the up volume, and 249 more advancing issue than declining issue. Now, the NASDAQ 100 new high versus new low, there's not much of an expansion on the new 52-week low, comparing to the previous session, but it is still up there. We see a 338 stock make new 52-week low today versus only 33 stock make new 52-week high. So again, that's not a good margin. And for the cumulative AD line for the NASDAQ market, it did not develop any negative divergence today, but we're still watching this huge negative divergence to get resolved. And most likely we're going to see the NASDAQ 100 or the NASDAQ market come down much more than where it is right now. Now let's take a look at some of the ETF. Looking at the diamond, the Dow Jones Industrial ETF, you can see that it got a nice bounce off the weekly lower range of the expected move. So we could see if there's some follow through in the coming days. We could see it maybe come back up to this composite point of control somewhere around 338.32. Now I do see this gap here still remain open. So I do expect this gap to get filled in the near term. So I wouldn't be surprised once we get a little bit of a bounce here, back test some of these levels here, encounter some resistance somewhere maybe up here at this composite point of control. We could see it pushes back and fill this gap. Then I'll be looking for the price to come down to this edge here, and that would be somewhere around 326.50. And here on the SPY, you see that it came down and got a nice bounce off this trend line, and also in confluence with the lower range of the expected move near this 423 level. So right now, I'll be watching to see would it be able to come up and possibly encounter resistance somewhere around this 430 level. Then maybe get a push back down, or possibly come up to backtest this pivot low near the 432.81. Then pushes back down and probably take out this lower range of the expected move, because I do expect it to come down the next time it's at this high volume node here at this 412 area. Now, if you'd like to see what I'm looking at for the coming session, I do publish a daily trade plan for the SPY and the ES in my Substack page. So you might want to check that out if you're interested in looking at the daily trade level that I'll be watching for the coming session. And for the QQQ, we did see a bounce also and got a nice hammer doji here. So for the coming day, we'll see will it come up and backtest this trend line here, because right now it's basically backtesting this pivot low that it just broke yesterday. So if it come back down and take out this low range of the expected move, I do expect it to come down and move into this zone here. And that would come down and get below this 341, and then possibly come down and fill this gap here down at this 333 level. And look at the Russell 2000 ETF, the IWM, we see an inside bar here. So right now, we're basically watching this to see would it be able to push back up and come up to this upper portion of this balance area here, and possibly get up and maybe fill this gap here between 178 and 180 level here. Now, if the price come down and break this trend line here, then it move the price to the lower half of this balance area, then I expect it to come down, take out this lower range of the expected move and move down toward this 167, 168 level here near this pivot low. So here we are. Today we saw a 8% pullback from the July high to today's intraday low here on the SP 500. Coincident? Well, you go enjoy your own conclusion. But right now, we're basically looking for a little bit of a bounce here, but don't get too euphoric here or excited about the upward move. This could be a trap, because we noticed that the internal, although it's kind of neutral today, but it is not that strong to say, hey, this is a turnaround here. So I still expect that this trend line going to get broken, and we'll see lower prices. So beware, just stay cautious. So if you like this video, make sure to smash that thumbs up to help promote this video. And also, if you are new to this channel, click on the subscribe to support this channel. And if you're interested in looking at the daily trading level that I'm watching, go visit my Substack page, and the link is smtraderca.substack.com, and the link is in the description below. So good luck and stay safe.